Hey there. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I book 3 qualified discovery calls per day using LinkedIn cold outreach. Now, you might notice I'm in a bit of a different environment today. I'm surrounded by beautiful pictures of my wife as a child, as we're actually at our in-laws. We had to leave our place due to Hurricane Beryl in the Woodlands, and there's no power and still no power there. However, yesterday, with a little bit of hotspot, I was able to book discovery calls and use this approach, and you can be damn sure I'm going to do it today. You can do it regardless of the situation. As long as you stay consistent, you hit your targets, you're able to make things happen. So with that being said, what we have in front of me is this beautiful calculator that allows you to really get into the numbers of cold outreach and figure out exactly what you need to be hitting per day, right? Cold outreach is a numbers game. So with that being said, we're using a calculator. We're doing some math here. So basically how this works is that these values are consistently divided by each other. You can kind of start to see the math here as I break it down. But basically what this eventually allows us to do is come out with the amount of DMs per day that we need to be sending. So whether that be follow-ups, whether that be new messages, as long as you're hitting these targets per day, you'll be able to hit your yearly goals moving things forward, right? So say, for example, you want to make the beautiful 10 grand a month, right? And in this case, 10 grand per client, that's sizable. Let's go down to 5,000. Let's see what that looks like, right? And so basically through this process, what you're able to do is using industry averages of a sales conversion rate. So this is closing people on a call of around 15%, a good fit rate, which means after a discovery call, they're a good fit to move to a demo of around 60%, and then a show up rate of around 70%. Also with an appointment booking rate of 2.5%. Now, don't get too involved in the numbers yet, but basically it helps you really understand what to expect and what you need to do at the top to get the results that you want at the bottom of what you're doing in terms of closed sales and clients closed, right? And so through this process, you can play around with these numbers, change the sales conversion rate to 20% here, change the DMs per day there, leave that at 15%. So say your show up rate's a lot higher, comes down to around 80%, maybe that's less DMs, right? And so through this process, you're able to see how you're able to divide these pieces and come to the results you're wanting to. So in this case, say each client is worth 5K for you. You're wanting to make $120,000 per year. You have these rates, these industry averages here, and then it shows you what you need. So 24 clients, you need 160 good fit calls, you need 266 show-ups, 333 bookings, and then which means around 13,000 DMs per year, which gives you a DMs per day. And this even is divided by 261, as you might not be messaging on the weekend, people might not be as active, right? And so you can do a lot of reverse engineering now. If you want to just pause the video, I'll show you how to do this. Or if you actually want this calculator yourself to understand how to actually get out there and do cold outreach, just type calculator down below and I'll send it your way. So with that being said, once you figure out how many numbers of outreach you need to send per day, how many DMs you need to send, we now need to build a list. So we'll come over to LinkedIn Sales Navigator here. And through this process, we'll come to see all filters, make it a little bit easier. This is directly a list that I use, right? And so if we look through this piece, the biggest filters you want to have are posted on LinkedIn. This shows that someone's posted on LinkedIn within the last 30 days. So if you're reaching out to them, they're posting on LinkedIn, they see value in the platform, you're more than likely going to reach them versus somebody else who, isn't active on LinkedIn at all, right? So that's always one of the first filters that I'll throw on, in addition to, company headcount, what's their job title, what do they call themselves, how long they've been in their company, what industry they're working with, right? And then you can even use Boolean functions here, like use quotes, consultant or coach or agency. You can also do and, right? Or not, if there's any words you want to exclude specifically. Now, if I'm wanting to target consultants, coaches, and agency owners, you actually don't put and, because it's going to target people who only have consultant, coach, and agency owner in their profile. So what you do instead is do consultant, in quote, all caps, or in quote, in coach or agency, and that'll allow you to target everyone who has at least one of those keywords in their profile. So the list is incredibly important. Who you're reaching out to first, it really dictates the response rates you're going to get, making sure your profile is optimized to speak to that type of person. All that is important in building a list. But however, once you're done, you go ahead and save that, and then you can start sending connection requests. So I'll pull my camera over here. LinkedIn will allow you to send out around 100, 120 connection requests. It really depends on your social selling index and how long your LinkedIn account's been active. And it allows you to send out a certain amount per week. So what you can actually do is scroll through, as some of these individuals may not be a fit. LinkedIn is not exactly perfect, Sales Nav, at targeting people you like with the filtered search. However, it gets you 90% of the way. So you can come through directly and look, okay, this person's a coach. What I'll do now is I'll send a connection request. I'll go ahead and check that, come down further, coaching companies. Okay, so I'll go ahead and check that, then send a connection request. I'm not going to at this point, but founder and coach, right? So that's people we want to reach out to. Some we might kind of skip over. Now, once you have these people selected, what you can then do is hit save to list. So all I did in the past was create a simple daily connection request list. You'll click create new list. You'll put in a list name. You can put a description if you like. You don't have to. And then you'll be able to click on that list and it automatically adds people to that list, right? And so once you come through the page, make sure you save to the list after you have everyone selected, because when you go to the next page, it'll actually remove those you have selected and you can start fresh. So when you get to the bottom of each page, after you've sent out the connection request, make sure that you actually save them to that list. Now that list is saved, you can come over to leads and you're able to access these people directly, right? So we'll come to this list here, for example, and you're able to see recently accepted connection request and InMails. You'll come through and see, okay, I've sent a message already. Okay, the invitation's accepted. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and send the first message. Now with that being said, what do you send? There's so many things you can send. You can get out there and pitch slap like on LinkedIn, what people do on LinkedIn, which, bro, it doesn't work. Stop doing that. You can have a conversation that really goes nowhere, but you have to have a conversation, right? So how do you actually start that conversation? Well, I actually have that as part of my approach. You want to have a hook. You want to have a few qualifying conversations that actually allow you to get to the root of what they're dealing with, right? So dealing with demographics, understanding who they are on paper, what are they working towards, and then what are they struggling with? What are they dealing with in their current state? I actually use a tool called Text Expander here. So this is very handy in allowing me to send out follow-ups very, very quickly, right? So usually I have a hook, permission-based approach. Of course, you want to personalize here. It's just a base for you to work with, but you want to lead with a permission-based approach, showing curiosity, showing caring, right? And so with that being said, when you use this approach, it's going to allow people to be a lot more comfortable in answering you. You're not pitching them directly and you're able to start a conversation. Then you want to have, as you can see here, I have my abbreviations ZCon1, ZCon2, ZCon3. These are all questions that I'm going to ask to move the conversation forward towards a booked meeting, right? And so I use these conversations, one, honing on demographics, what are they dealing with? What are their pains? And then actually moving things towards a call, right? And so with that being said, you want to personalize your messages to fit your avatar or your ICP profile, right? So the biggest things you can understand is who are they on paper? What is their current state? What are they struggling with? And then what are they working towards? Once you understand that, you can very, very easily tap into pains. And the biggest thing you want to do when it comes to cold outreach is you want to enter the conversation that somebody is having with themselves in their mind when they're dealing with a problem that you solve, right? So in my case, I know a lot of my clients that I work with have issues with being overly reliant on referrals, or they have inconsistent, just low ticket sales. They're not able to hit their goals. Or in general, they have a very manual and time consuming process that's not getting the results they want, right? So because I know that, I can tap into that pain when I actually go out there and message people. Now, that being said, when it comes to the inconsistent low ticket sales, that's why we love higher ticket prices, because say you're charging 10K per client, that's less DMs per day. So you're charging, 15 grand per client with your high ticket offer, then that comes down to 70 per day. Okay, aside from the point, but basically, if we come over here, we then would send that Z hook message, type the abbreviation, and then, it's all caps, type the abbreviation, and it populates. I would personalize, then send that message, and then start a conversation, okay? So once that approach goes through, speed is king. Getting back and messaging people as quickly as possible is incredibly important in moving these conversations along. You can't get out there and send a message and then get back to someone a day later, and then they send a message and then get back to them a day later. They're going to lose interest, right? So if you can stay active, setting blocks for about 2 hours every day in the morning to stay active, do cold outreach, stay on LinkedIn, then your success rates of booking discovery calls is going to go way up. If that's one of the things that you actually do is just stay active and respond to messages very, very quickly. Have the conversations, qualify the prospects before you move them, into a discovery call, 15-minute chat, and then you send over a meeting link and move things forward. So this breaks down my process of how I book 3 qualified discovery calls per day using LinkedIn Cold Outreach. I hope you've enjoyed. Again, if you want access to this calculator to understand how many DMs per day you need to be sending to actually hit your yearly goals for your business, go ahead and comment calculator down below, and I'll send you a link to this your way so you can use it and you can really get clarity on what you need to be doing per day. So hope you enjoyed. Look forward to speaking with you soon. I got some outreach to do, so I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care.